Okay, so everyone, thank you for coming. I am very excited to have all of you, and I'm very grateful that you're here. Today, I am joined by someone that I have a lot of respect for, Carolyn Marin, from the director of Ann Wigmore Institute in Puerto Rico, and one of the most iconic places for healing with living foods in the world, if not the most iconic. And we're going to be talking about how this way of eating, simple, alive, powerful, can truly change your health and your energy and even your emotional life. And those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Rebecca and I am from Perfect Foods. I'm the one of the co-owners of Perfect Foods, and we're actually the largest wheatgrass and microgreen growers in the country, if not the world. And we're second generation, and we now have been associated with, my father knew Ann Wigmore back in the day and has gone to Ann Wigmore in Puerto Rico many times. And our work that we do is very, very similar to what you are doing in Ann Wigmore Institute. We help people to do that at home. So it's an honor and a pleasure to get to talk to you and kind of pick your brain about what made you be where you are now and why are you so excited and why have you given your life to this work, and also to share any insights with us and give any you know knowledge about wheatgrass and microgreens that people don't know, but then like way, way, way beyond that. So just living foods and the philosophy of this and the spiritual impact that it has and all of that. Um, Two things that I want to share before we get started, just so that you guys know, is that first of all, Ann Wigmore Institute right now is under construction, but they're going to be reopening soon, and in July they're gonna have a date of when they're gonna be reopening. So those of you, while you're thinking through and you're gonna be excited about doing this and wanting to do it, just keep on the lookout. And as well, Perfect Foods is leading a at-home program where we help you to do the raw living foods diet at home in a week from now, starting May 18th. So we'll talk about that at the end as well, where we help you to really do this at home and facilitate it. So I hope that everyone enjoys. And while we're going around, please put your questions in the chat and hopefully we'll get to them at the end. We're going to talk for about a half an hour where I'm going to ask my questions, and then you all can share your questions as well. And this is going to be recorded for anybody who can't be here. So let's get into it. Please, before we talk about living foods or what they do, I just want to know a little bit about your story and what brought you to this path. Was there a moment that you realized that food was medicine, not just in theory, but in your body? What do you feel or experience that made you stay with this work?
Okay. First, I want to thank you though, because I already feel good with you. You and I have talked a few times. I said, let's do a webinar. She said, let's do a webinar. I said, yes, and we're doing it. So, and I really respect you. And I know you're a really hard worker and your family is hard workers. And I'm grateful for you because the people, and me too, when we go places, we need sprouts. We can't all be growing them all the time. And some of us don't want them and some of us just can't. And I just really honor you and what you guys do. For me, you're a farmer, an indoor farmer, and Ann Wigmore is known as was the mother of indoor gardening. And I just really appreciate what you do. So thank you for this.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Um, so I actually, I was living in New York City in 1999, 2000, and was having a lot of digestive issues and searching for how to eat and trying different things, and was vegetarian and vegan, but wasn't doing it right, because same with raw food, you can do it, but you're not really doing it balanced. And luckily living in New York City, so I was moving all the time, walking all the time, but I I met a lady who had cancer and cured it with raw food, living food and juices. And I went, what? And her and I became close. And I thought, well, if she can heal stage 4 breast cancer, whatever she had, something like this, breast cancer, stage 4, I can heal anything. So we got close. And we did a program with Aris Latham, who's an amazing raw foodist. He's like in Panama, or not in Panama. He's Jamaican. He's like a Jamaican Panama. And I'm sorry if I'm getting it wrong, Aris, but he did amazing stuff in Brooklyn. And I was getting perfect foods at that time, a lot of sprouts, and I was learning. And I did it for a week and I never felt better in my life. But I was eating too much dried fruit, mango and bananas, and I saw I'd get bloated and I was a little confused. And then I read Ann Wigmore's book, Why Suffer?
Mm.
Hit me like, this is it. This makes sense. And at the end, and then I read Be Your Own Doctor, and at the end I saw Ann Wigmore Institute in Puerto Rico. So I called and I was so inspired. And it was in New York City and it was like 10 at night. I don't know what I was thinking. I just called and I thought, I'll leave a message. I'm just so inspired. I'm Gemini, just do things. And I did it thinking I'll leave a message. Well, a lady answers the phone, happens to be, and I'm not so into horoscopes, but it was Leola Brooks, who was the director with Lalita at the time after Ann Wigmore in 2000. And she answered the phone and she was so lovely that her and I just fell in love. And I said things like, she said, I said, what are you doing answer the phone? She goes, what are you calling me for? I said, I'm just so inspired. I finished the book and I want to know about you. And do you have a place? And what's it like? And I want to come. And she said, you got to come. And I came and I really never left. I came. I was already I kind of was a raw food chef. I learned from Maurice and I worked actually at Omega Institute and I did other programs. I'm an upstate New York girl like Rebecca is. And I learned a lot about food and I loved making food. And when I got there and I learned to make energy soup and I learned about the sprouts and you cut them and you put them in and you eat them right then and the law arrive and you do juice and you cut and you make it and I never felt better in my life. My husband was almost shocked at me. I was doing cartwheels around the room. He was like, are you all right? And my stomach for once in my life didn't hurt all the time. I felt so happy. I didn't know what to do with it. I was kind of overwhelmed and I was 30. I hadn't had kids yet. And I was thinking, I just want to cleanse my body and get balanced before I have kids. You know, I want to get rid of fears and I want to have natural birth. And I had read the 21st Century book and I was just like, yeah, you know. So I stayed and they asked me to become the raw chef in the kitchen and I did it. Then they asked me to become a colon therapist and I did it. And I did that for a few years and I taught a bunch of classes and then I wanted to have kids. So I kind of went back and forth for a few years. I might have even met your dad because I don't know if he went in those years, but I kind of remember when I see the picture of his face, I'm like, I think I might have, maybe I gave him a colonic even. No, but
You
anyway,
really remember him.
no,
I remember a lot of him.
but I remember I just, you know, and seeing what happened to people there too. I'd be in the kitchen and I'd see people come in just really drained and down. And like the nice lady said that they're on meds and they're coming off the meds and they're detoxing. And I just watched them like go through this for a few days. And then all of a sudden it was like they became alive from the live food, right? Like Rebecca and I are saying, more live food than raw food, okay? More live. You do eat raw food, but more of it has to be live food because it's easy to digest and it's powerhouse. It's medicine. Food is medicine. And Hippocrates said that. That's why Ann Wigmore named her first place Hippocrates in Boston. That was her place, you know? But then Brian and her split and she came down here. But she didn't advertise. So not a lot of people came here for years. So even when I came in 2000, it was kind of slow moving. I was kind of like, they're going to have a program still. And there's only a few. And they did it with gusto. Like you said, Betsy Bragg does. They just did it with all their love. And I just fell in love with these two women. They had unconditional love for everyone. They taught everyone that you got to love yourself. They would positive affirmations. We'd take walks on this beach. We'd sit and listen to the coquilles. I just, that was it. That was it. And so between watching people heal, get healthier. I mean, I don't sit here and say I saw somebody completely heal cancer, but I saw people working on it and they'd come back a few years later and they said, oh yeah, I cured that. And I was like, okay, great. You know, and people say, you have to write that down. And no, because it's their way. And, you know, they did it. It's just, it's self-healing. I just fully believe in it. I fully self-healing, you know, and I believe we're our own doctors. I don't believe I might go to a massage therapist for help, or I might go see a chiropractor. I might buy sprouts from you. I might see a friend invent. I might do things to help. I might take a little supplement, but not much, because I really believe that the food is where you get your nourishment. The food does two things for you. This live food cleans you and nourishes you. And Wigmore said, everyone is out of balance for two reasons. They're toxic
and malnourished.
And then they're right, and they're deficient, right? So toxicity and deficiency equals out of balance. It could be a tumor, it could be an allergy, it could be a cancer, it could be depression, it could be schizophrenia, it could be anything. So what do? You cleanse the body by giving it live food. And sometimes it takes a few weeks, 3 weeks, but most of the time it takes a little longer because the amount of chemicals that we've been bombarded with over the years and the amount of fear that we're bombarded with, we have to do a lot of emotional cleansing. And the food helps that. And you got to be ready for it, you know? And it's very intense. That's why here I don't like to have huge groups. We're not going to have more than 25 people at a time because I would need a much bigger staff ready to help many more people, and everybody goes through it at different times. And we all kind of become babies again when we start to eat this food.
We can't be like, just like the wheatgrass and the microgreens are the babies, we get back to that stage too, in a way.
Away, and that's okay. We got to
Yeah.
just allow ourselves to be with that and allow ourselves to go through that healing, that cleansing. And sometimes, well, I know crying is great. Laughing is great and crying is great.
Okay, I have my whole list of questions, but I also have like a couple questions that are coming to me right this second, so I'm going to ask them. So something that's been coming up I just did a cleanse 2 weeks ago with a group of people, and one woman, she was feeling like really tired and depleted. It was like day 3, and that's always typical for detox. And then day 4, she felt better, and then day 5, she didn't feel good again. And then like late, and then the following week started to feel a little bit starting to feel a lot better. But like, I'm just curious if you've seen any trends. I know that I really respect what you just said about people come back and they tell you that they healed themselves from cancer, but you're not going to go ahead and like be the world's research case on it. Sometimes I think about being like that because I hear all this stuff, and I am tempted to like want to tell the world and scream to the world. But I
Yeah,
really appreciate your perspective of we are healing ourselves. It's not me healing you. It's not you healing them. It's we are healing ourselves, and everybody's on their own journey. So as much as you want a guru and you want that one thing that's going to heal it all, yeah,
yeah, you're the guru.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Yes.
I don't know if you take people through also, and a lot of people get shy and don't like maybe this word, but colon cleansing, which is an ancient thing, and like that really helps the process because some of the stuff that was in the bodies before, both toxicity, acidity, it's gases, and they get locked in there in mucus, and that stuff is very hard to come out. So wheatgrass, but Ann Wigmore would say also clean, and she believed in putting wheatgrass. I'll call it in the back door, ladies and gentlemen. It's called a wheatgrass implant. You have to clean first, and then you put it in, and it's very small amounts, and it's done gently. It's done by yourself. It's up to you if you want to do it. No one forces. But that, like when you're going through those first 3 days, is a game changer. Or getting a colonic, because the whole body is so and then you release and you just feel like a whole new person, and
Mm.
sometimes that's hard when you're doing it on your own, but it's not if you can do some enemas.
Right. It's
Enemas,
not impossible.
they're ancient. This is our great grandparents did enemas or we wouldn't be here. Okay,
Right. They were doing it in ancient Egypt.
enemas were a part of the healing of everything from headaches to hysteria to nausea to diarrhea to constipation, which is one and the same, diarrhea, constipation, to food poisoning, to everything. And so it's it's a shame if people can't just realize that and go buy the old fashioned enema bag and put some nice clean warm water in there and clean, because that's the beginning right there. And then you say Alleluia, because
So
you
those of you who are like, what is going on here? If put a 1 in the chat if you guys can be a little interactive with me. Put in a 1 in the chat if you know what we're talking about in the world of colonics and enemas, and maybe you've been to a raw food center or you've done them before and you can attest that it's a really incredible thing. And put a 2 in the chat if you can, if you're like, what on earth did I just come on to? What are they talking about? I thought that we were talking about living foods. What are we talking about? Because I want to bring it back, but I know that here in this room of whatever 78 people, Some of you are really, really, really like know a lot. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. This is like a pretty niche group we got here. But there's also some of you who are really new to this and just want to heal and don't know what we're talking about. So let's take a couple steps back. And for those of you who are new and don't know exactly, let's ask the question of what are these living foods that we speak of and why are they even more powerful than like plant-based, for example, and just eating clean generally? Like what are living foods?
You want me to tell you what I say?
Yeah.
What living? So living foods are foods that are alive, like in that moment that, I would, a living food would be microgreens, things that you're growing, could be in a tray. It could be also out in a garden. That's a live food. If I go out and I cut some of the cilantro in our garden and I eat it, that's alive. Whereas
Mm.
raw food you buy in a store, or maybe I cut it and gave it to Rebecca and it was there for a while. Carrots, well, if I picked out in my garden, it's raw, but most of us are buying carrots from that bunny place in California or somewhere. And that's raw because we don't know when it was, pulled out of the garden, and it's not cooked. Raw foods can be and are usually hard to digest, whereas living foods, because of the freshness and the amount of life value that you literally just cut it, has all of its enzymes still going in it. And so the digestibility of it is that it uses its own enzymes, whereas, and raw foods too can, but the raw foods have less energy because it just makes sense. They've traveled or they've sat in a fridge, of course, I could say raw foods and people are eating raw potato. Raw potato is not part of the living foods lifestyle that we teach, because potato is not healthy. It's not something that gives energy to you, and it spikes the sugar, and it's really not healthy to eat raw. Although if I slice it and put it on my skin and use it as a poultice, it's medicine. So it is medicine, but it's not to be ingested, right? So if you can do a diet, what you eat every day, and you can eat mostly raw, living foods. That means you eat lots of sprouts. You had a shot of wheatgrass every day, and you eat a lot of living foods. Also, sauerkraut is living because it's fermented. So living foods could be fermented, could be sprouted. We also say when you blend it, it makes it really easy to digest. So we consider a lot of blended foods, living foods, especially because they have sprouts in them. And juicing too makes it live because it's so easy to digest, the digestibility. We don't believe in taking enzymes. We believe in using the food's enzymes and using the food, right? Is that
Yeah. Yes, that's perfect. What is it, what would you say is like a basic, quick, like Ann Wigmore diet, a day in the life, and why that?
So get up in the morning. We always say things like drink a glass of warm or room temperature water, maybe with lemon or lime in it, just for alkalinity, to give it some minerals in it. You drink it. And just to start the body, we tell people to do a lot of movement. We say do a brisk walk, do some yoga, do some breathing, and then we serve wheatgrass right here on the beach usually. We start with 1 to 2 ounces depending on the person. We teach them how to drink it, because drinking wheatgrass is not about it's a shot and we're doing shots now. You have to take it and swish it, and you mix it with the enzymes that are squirting out, going, oh my God, what is this stuff? Because those enzymes help break it down and buffer it so that when you drink it, it goes in your stomach so soft. It's like a whole other thing. If you drink it back and drink it, a lot of people, they vomit. So this is the whole way. You have to swish it. If someone says, I'm allergic, I don't like it, you drink a teaspoon. You start with a teaspoon, very little, right?
Mm.
And then people, we say, wait a little bit, maybe wait at least a half hour after you drink wheatgrass, try to, and then maybe some water, or what we serve is Rejuvelac. And Wigmore made people Rejuvelac. And it used to be out of wheat, but now we're using cabbage because it is sustainable. It makes more sense. And we don't
Oh,
want to mess with the wheat. Yeah. And that's been for over 20 years. We've been doing only only
cool.
cabbage one. Sometimes I put a little ginger or turmeric in it, so it makes it like a really nice flavor. And so
Wait,
that,
for the Rejuvelac or for the
yeah,
sauerkraut?
no, for our
You
Rejuvelac.
you make cabbage Rejuvelac?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have to talk about that
Yeah.
another time. Okay,
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, and then so that like gets their digestive system going. It really sometimes it's kind of it's tart and a little acidy here, but the stomach feels really nice. If that's too much, we say just drink more water because we want them to drink at least 8 glasses of liquids, whether it's water, Rejuvelac, or green juice a day. So we try to get them going 2 or 3 before even breakfast. So then after that, they might take a walk or get ready or have a class, and then they have breakfast. And breakfast is always energy soup. Energy soup is made of sunflower greens, sometimes pea shoots, buckwheat greens, a little Rejuvelac, some carrots, a little seaweed, and a lot of love, and maybe a little bit of lentil sprouts, very little in a whole blender. And so it's mostly sunflower greens. Okay. And so the people will drink that, eat that, not drink slowly. And they even have a class how to eat because we
Mm.
don't eat like that, right? We really slowly put the spoon down. Sometimes we put some papaya. If I was up by you, we'd use apple because those are the enzymatic fruits, just a little, right? And sometimes we put a little chia cream or flax cream on it. And I like to put a little ginger. Some people put a little seaweed on top. We have like little condiments, kind of like acai bowl, like to help people like it better because everyone has their way. Someone's a little lime. And then, so that's breakfast. And they might, people aren't used to that, but having breakfast so green and fibrous is the best way to have a breakfast. It starts you off and you won't be craving the sweets later if you start with something so nourishing, full of protein, easy to digest protein, and really satisfying. It's wonderful. I miss it so much. I'm going to make some tomorrow because I got a lot of sunflower greens today.
You
So
can make it. Yeah, you can make it. Okay,
I'm
okay,
gonna,
keep going. I had a big thing that I would say to that is like people are used to having smoothies in the morning, so like to have just the sprouts and nothing like majorly like, frozen berries or having like other fruit in it. It's
yeah,
different than like what we're used to.
right,
And I do tend to get some pushback when I tell people to do the energy soup.
right.
However,
Yeah.
yeah, no, what's your sell on it? Like, why do you think it's such an important thing?
Um,
Or not even your sell, but like versus having it with fruit. Like, it's a big food combining
Right,
thing.
right. Well, and we that's why we allow some papaya, but you should see
Yeah.
people like they want more papaya, more, they want to come back more. So
Right,
I think
right.
we all have to admit, I hope we all can admit here that we all kind of addicted to sugar,
Yeah.
and we all had it when we were young, and it's not a bad thing to like sweet fruit, but too much. Right? There's like a pie, and we don't want the sweets to overtake when we're trying to heal ourselves. When we're trying to heal ourselves, we want to go low glycemic, low in the fruit, just at least for that time to get balanced. Then the body can handle more fruit. And when people are here, they're not exercising as much too, and they're usually detoxing and healing things like candida or cancer or just too much bad bacteria in their body, which is candida. And so it's not time. If you do in the morning and you go for like banana or figs or dates, then all day long or by 3 o'clock again, you want that other zip. So just getting the body kind of used to being more like this with its sugar instead of this,
Mm,
start stimulating ourselves. I mean, that's not to say sometimes I don't have a smoothie and put a little banana, but I try to put more of the berries and more green so it's not sweet. Now my kids will be like, they're talking about pushback, or even my husband, he wants sweet. But I've learned that my body does so much better. I have so much more better energy. Even my mood is so much better if I stay in more green. So it's by
mm,
experience and by watching people. And
mm,
people heal when they stay more green.
mm,
Shrinking tumors, shrinking lumps and bumps, skin gets clearer faster. Colons dump more mucus when you don't put sugar in the colon. Even
mm,
papaya. Even
mm,
papaya seeds are different. The whole papaya seeds, then you're getting parasites out of there. But it's but then we do give some sweet. I mean, we might do a flax apple cinnamon smoothie later, but always has a bunch of microgreens in it, right? And
right.
it has more apple than greens, so it'll have an apple taste, but there'll be a lot of cinnamon in there. And um and then and then lunch, there's always energy soup and then usually a salad. And then the salad is a little more big and it might have things like a stuffed avocado with sauerkraut, or like a rolly with seed cheese, all Ann Wigmore recipes that are from, the 60s and 70s in Boston at her place. And then we'll have a snack, usually a green juice at 4 o'clock for a snack. And at 5:30, 6 o'clock, it's energy soup again, you know? And so believe me, we get pushback like nobody else, but we just say, hang in there. And they're like, but I don't want, have 3 spoonfuls, but I'm not hungry. Have just a little. Okay. I don't want it. Okay. Have a green juice. Okay. And really, after a few days of that, they like it. They feel better. Their knees feel good. All of a sudden, they're walking upstairs. They're like, oh my God, I feel so much better. Oh my God. You know, but they go through, it's almost like you got to go through that dark tunnel, that little bit of to feel better, you know. And I know that everyone on this program, you guys, you wouldn't be watching, like you said, unless you're warrior people. Us
Yeah.
warriors, we're not afraid to have a little pain, a little discomfort. We've already had a lot of it. This is just a little to feel amazing, you know.
And what do you think is like uh like longevity for this? Because again, a lot of people do come and they'll first of all, they'll feel like in the beginning, they'll feel good or no, they'll feel challenged, like you were saying. Is there a timeline that you generally see that like challenge to good that you for just to give hope for the people who are like in that beginning, like few day, or what if it goes on? Because usually to me, the period of time that detox is like 3 days to 4 days, and then you're good to go. But
Yeah.
sometimes it lasts longer. Have you ever seen it last longer? And do you have anything to say for
Yeah.
that?
For me, a lot of times when it lasts longer, it might have to do the chemical toxicity of the person, like the amount of meds or the time, or even the vaccines, or just chemical. I'll just say better than chemicals, the acidity of the body, the amount. But if they're ready up here emotionally and mentally to let go, and they do, for me, I do believe in the colon cleansing part. It moves it faster out. I would
Mm,
also say soaking in this ocean out here helps it. Being barefoot helps it. Like all these other things, like living foods to me, and the living food lifestyle is, food is an aspect of it. But
mm,
I did it right before the program because I'm like, I have to feel that ocean. And the ocean's so calm at this time of year. It's amazing. And I'm so sad we're not open to have you here right now. But you can just like float, and it's flat. It's like a big pool, and it's warm, and it just alkalizes your body, and you just go into a good mood. You just feel great. You feel positive. All the stresses kind of go away, and you know, I can handle this, you know. And we need that. So when we're detoxing, and Wigmore chose to come to Puerto Rico, she wanted to get out of Boston, where we could grow our food year round, where we could be barefoot all year round, where we can feel the earth, where we can be around the trees and the wind, and that we can actually just be in nature where we are really meant to be. You know, we're not meant to be walking through New York City all the time. You guys got to get out sometimes. You got to get out, you know.
no. This is so good. It's really making me want to come there right
Energy soup and all this food, it will make you tired when your body needs to be clean. So it does two things. Rebecca and I were saying it does two things. This food cleans you and nourishes you. So at first, cleans you and nourishes you because it's cleaning you. So if you do the other part by doing things like skin brushing, trampoline, swimming, releasing, crying, emoting, doing your colon cleansing, the moment that starts moving out, all of a sudden energy soup gives you so much energy, you won't know it hit you. You'll be doing cartwheels no matter what age you are, unless you never did a cartwheel before. Then you'll be doing all the other things. You'll dance. You'll say, I feel so good. I don't know what to do, you know? And so it just takes time. So if you're like, I'm still feeling tired. I had a lady that said, that's not energy soup. I don't feel it. And I said, that's because you're still cleansing. And this is a lady that wouldn't do the enemas. She just wouldn't do them. And I said, it's going to take you a little longer. That's all. And I used to tell you, please come to the colonic room, or please just, I'll set up the enema bag, you know, just, you know, pray and say, God, help me just clean this out of me, you know. And you just, if you want it and you set those intentions, it's going to happen. That's it. Easy.
that I wanted to talk about the mindset thing too. Just for my own, like not for my own, but also for everyone here, I am curious your take because we were saying on like wheatgrass and sprouts because I've been noticing in the world that there has been a shift in the industry and like there's all these other things, there's CMOS and there's all these other like health food products and things that people are using. So actually the usage of wheatgrass has gone down. And I'm curious why you guys still talk about wheatgrass and why you think that it's such an important part of this program.
Yeah. Oh, I'll never stop talking about wheatgrass. Like it's It's the oldest. It's the most ancient form of medicine. It's grass. It's a seed and it's a sprout, 7 days, right? And even today, I took a long walk and I just grabbed a piece of grass because I walked through like these fields and I just was chewing on it. I was just enjoying, I'm not going to swallow it. I'm just getting chlorophyll, you know? And so sea moss is great, but it doesn't compare to wheatgrass. It's not even the same. It's like, sure, I'll have a little sea moss, but wheatgrass daily, you're getting how many different vitamins and minerals? All of them. All
Yeah.
of the known vitamins, vitaminerals, I call them vitaminerals, vitamins and minerals known to man. The amount of enzymes are unbelievable. Chlorophyll, I call it liquid sunshine, you know,
Mhm.
and it's just, it's so easy, you know, and you only need a little bit. Even if you start with an ounce a day. I have the old fashioned
Uh,
crank. I love
Cranker. Yeah,
crank.
me too.
And
Yeah.
even though I have an omega and my friends like, why don't you use that? I'm like, it makes too much noise. And the crank does something that just presses it the way my teeth would. And the
Yeah.
juice is so beautiful. Just to drink that, I'm set for the day. I'm so much happier. And it's just the simplest thing. It's not broken down. People used to come to Ann Wigmore and ask her to, let's grind it up. Let's make you a powder. She'd say, no, no. I want the original and only fresh. And I want it right from nature. You know, I'm not messing with it. You're not, she didn't believe in processed food. So she didn't believe in supplements, you know? So I love that. It's not about money. It's the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in you doing it. You won't know till you try it, you know? And so, and in a few days, you won't know. Like Rebecca's saying, you need to go past that. Like that's why our program originally at Wigmore, and this year we're going to really try to say it to to get people to come for 3 weeks. I know it's
Mm.
really hard for people. And you know what? If they come for two, then they do two, and then we send them home and tell them to go to you or so, whoever your area is, and go
To
get your
continue.
sprouts because you got to continue this for it to really work. Your body needs more than 2 weeks. If it took you 30 years, 20 years, even 10, even 5 years to get where you're at, so out of balance or so off, you need that many months to just kind of cleanse and reboot and change your lifestyle, not go back into the same thing you were doing, right? So
Yeah.
it's and it doesn't mean then you've healed, you got all your symptoms. That doesn't mean you eat only that for the rest of your life. Ann Wigmore said, look, what if you could maintain kind of 80% of this? And 20% was like some cooked food, but she leaned whole food, right? Not packaged processed food. If once in a while you take a bite of something, okay. But the problem with that is that bite and those packaged foods is slippery slope. You take a bite, next thing you know, you want the whole bag, you know, and we all know that. You don't have to be an addict. We're all addicts. So you know, that's why we teach people even how to make dehydrated treats, you know, or even a cake, a pie, you know, how to make a birthday pie with just almonds, apples, and cinnamon and strawberries. Just really simple. The less ingredients, the easier to digest, the more nourishing it is. Simple.
Yeah. 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 I always am a big fan of a 3 ingredient smoothie.
True.
Yeah, just a liquid, a green, and berry is usually, or a fruit if you're gonna do.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
it. Just three,
I saw one of yours doing it. It was like chia, berries, and greens. And it was like
period.
beautiful. It's the best.
Yeah. Yeah, because when a lot of times, especially with these smoothies, I think like people go crazy and they'll put this, and be like, I'm trying to get as much as I can in this one drink. But then you get bloated and then you get
Right.
like you'll like things happen and people are like, I don't know, like this smoothie doesn't make me feel good, but I'm having all these greens. And I really
But
think
that
less is more
they're
with that.
detoxing. Well, and also, like, are they soaking the chia? You know, that's a question.
Right.
So another thing about live food is you have to soak seeds. We never just eat seeds like this. Never. You know, I don't eat almond like that. I soak almonds. If I keep them in my fridge, I dump the water, I change it, I take the peel off and I chew on a couple almonds. That's a live almond. That's the difference between a raw almond and a live almond. And if I just
Yeah.
eat raw almonds, I'm gonna get bloated because it's
Right.
hard to
Well,
digest.
I'll say that a big thing that I always say about live foods is that it's literally the same as us about the enzymes, just to share. Like every living thing is born with a certain amount of enzymes, and as it grows, it uses up those enzymes to digest things and to grow. And so, like we also do. So we also, as we grow, that middle-aged feeling of like feeling like things aren't working as well, and like we can't heal as quickly, and things are breaking down, and we just don't feel as good. That is a depletion of enzymes. So if we can have more highly enzymatic foods, then we can we can feel better. And then also same thing with that's the reason why the wheatgrass and the sprouts and the living and like these little baby greens are so helpful in the acceleration of this healing process. Because yeah, you can for sure have just raw foods, and there are plenty of people in this world that are doing just the raw foods diet without the living foods. But the living foods accelerates it so much because they have all the extra enzymes that they haven't used up until their adulthood. So they're just like this like massive like bioforce that's just
Like a
like
potential, right, right,
yeah,
potential.
it's like fighting out any like crazy stuff that's going on in your body, and it's just an amazing tool. So
Right.
yeah, yeah,
And we teach it. We say, you're born with you have a bank of enzymes. And the thing is, a lot of us use it up as we get older because we eat so much processed food that we use
mhm,
it. So then when you eat the living food, like you're saying, it has so much, it digests itself so easy, right? So
yeah,
exactly. And that the potential energy that you're eating can be used for energy for you, but it
yeah,
also cleaning you. So at first you say, I don't feel good, but that's a lot of the reason why, and also there is I saw one woman mention it. We teach about food combining because you can't just throw everything in the blender. Like you said, three things are great. And what three things are they? A tomato, a pineapple, and this, this, and that. And so a lot of people have good.
can you give a quick food combining?
Is
Can you give us
this,
can you give us a 1 minute food combining class?
I mean,
It's hard.
the simplest thing about food combining, the thing with food combining is it was the chart that we use, it's like Herbert Sheldon, it's an old book, and he makes it, so we talk about it with also animal products. And so it's like proteins, carbohydrates, yeah, load, easier to digest starches, and then greens and vegetables. And the only no really is between the carbs and the dense proteins, dense carbs, dense proteins. So the best thing is the greens, the vitamin, especially the microgreens that you're talking about, and the lettuces and the easy to digest greens, they go good with everything, so
Right.
you're a win.
The thing that I've seen, like even honestly, so wheatgrass is its own thing, and that like you kind of really have to have it on its own.
Alone.
You have to have it alone. That's what Ann Wigmore always teaches. I do have some like things with that because being in this industry and everyone always telling me, oh, I have trouble with the wheatgrass, this or that. Personally, and I think if you actually get into it and your diet is like is clean enough, not even clean enough, but if you get your mindset into it, wheatgrass alone is absolutely fine, and there's absolutely no reason to have to try it with other things. A couple of things that I do say help is the cinnamon after, licking cinnamon after. Um, and then yeah, some people start to try and put in a little bit of like pineapple or this or that into it, and it's a big
Yeah.
question, but I don't know. Sometimes people are like, it's the only way to get it in me. So I oftentimes I'm like, okay, so maybe. But anyway,
I,
moving on.
Yeah, I think the main thing is to have it on a really empty stomach. And I
I
think
think
a
so
lot of
too.
people, I worked at Lifetime in New York
Yeah.
City for like
Hmm.
3 months
Yeah.
at the juice bar. And I had people come in like, give me a white grass shot. And I'd go, well, I mean, have you had anything to eat today? Yeah, but I give it to me. And I was like, well, and they just had their coffee. And three people just puked like, right. And, I was like, I quit because I was like, nobody wants to listen. This is medicine. This isn't something it's cool. And I'm just going to, you have to be ready to drink it. You have to
Mm.
be, you say it with a prayer. You drink it very slowly and consciously. And you start with, if you know you're sensitive or you're very out of balance, I'll call it, instead of sick, you start with even smaller amounts and you swish it so much in your mouth. It might take you 2 minutes swishing, like Listerine, and breathing and just swishing. Don't swallow. Keep mixing your saliva. Change the taste, and then drink it, and you'll be fine. Do a teaspoon at a time, once a day. Start like that, and then change your diet, like you said. Clean your diet. Take the meat. Take the dairy. Big thing. Take the sugar. I think it's really hard when people are coming off chemo or they have a lot of pills and then they do the wheatgrass. I tell them, are you ready to stop? Do you want to, and we don't tell anybody to get off pills when they're here. So when they are here, and I never say get off the pills, but we know sometimes when people are taking a lot, I see that wheatgrass is harder for them because their body has so much acid and wheatgrass is so alkaline. So it's like, like this. And then, it's, like the lady said, she wants to get off. Well, you kind of have to want to get off it because this is a whole other thing. You'll want to get off it because your whole body will say, get off them, get off them. I've got you, and it's,
Mm.
that's why I talk about it also having to do with trusting, nature, and you feel, Ann Wigmore would say, you feel closer to, for lack of a better word, God, or, great spirit when you eat this food, because you're eating pure nature. You're putting God food in you. You're not, you're living the way God wanted you to live. You're gathering, you're eating things right from the ground, and it's a wonderful way to live. Yeah, she thought we'd all hope we'd live in communities, and compost for each other. And you got the greens, and I'm making the.
I think we're gonna do it. Like, who here wants to do it? Okay, we've got 70, we have 77 people here. We can do it, right?
Yeah,
Put a one in the chat if you wanna like, let's do it. Let's live in community. Let's live this way. Let's make it happen. Let's not just dream about it anymore.
you
Let's
all
do
gonna
it
come.
real.
You all gonna come down to Puerto Rico because it's pretty perfect weather here.
Well, that's for sure. That's for sure, for sure. Like everybody on here is for sure coming to Ann Wigmore, Puerto Rico, like together.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you can only do 25 people at a time, but fine. We'll do 25 and then we'll do 25 and then do 25. But like for sure, everybody here, we have to go. I'm for sure coming. As soon as you open, like count
I know
me in.
you are. I know you
Yeah.
are.
As soon as you open, count me in, and I'm gonna bring a group of my group, my New York people, that's for sure, because I feel like, yes, I want to experience it in the Ann Wigmore way, in
Yeah.
the original way, and I want to really learn. I want to learn it straight from you guys, even though I teach it and I learn, but I think it'll be really nice to be like where Ann Wigmore actually taught it and get to be more connected to the roots of it. So for
Yeah.
me, I'm really excited about it personally. And even those of you who have been to other institutes or have done my program, I think it will be cool to go back to the roots as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I miss my community, our community, all you guys, and my new community of you new people that I'm meeting here we're in construction mode, and it's really,
look
it's
at all these people who just said me. There's like 40
hard,
people who are
and
just
I
like, I'm
miss you
making,
all.
we're
And
doing it.
this webinar is feeding me so much and making me so happy, and like making me remember, yeah, we gotta get this going. I mean, I can't get it going any faster because I can't be out whipping people, like they're working hard, and it's hot, and they're on roofs, and it's a lot, but we're getting it done, and we are going to be open, and we're maintaining. So, we were just 10 minutes down south, and this beautiful campus opened up for us that we have now. And I'm living here, managing with my husband and getting it ready. With the bathrooms have to be ready. We're making the colonic rooms. The kitchen's getting ready. We put the refrigerators in. The sprout house has to still go up. Maybe Rebecca's going to come down and grow some sprouts, but this is going to be outdoor. We're going to have a little wheatgrass room for the wheatgrass, but the greens, the sunflower, love the heat, and they
Yeah.
love the sun directly. So, and we have saltwater pools, and we have an ocean right behind. You can't hear it, can you?
No, yes, we could hear it the whole time. It's been lulling me.
And it's like,
Yeah, it's been drawing me in 100%. I've been like with the waves and with you speaking, I'm like in a trance.
yeah, yeah. So thank you for this time.
Yes. Okay, let me see if I have any other last questions. A big question that people had was about the cabbage sauerkraut, but I think we're not, that's going to be a part two. So
Yeah,
everyone,
we can make it. Maybe we
yeah,
can.
I think a part two actually might be making sauerkraut or making the cabbage kombucha, sorry, not cabbage,
Rejuvelac. Yeah,
rujuvelac
Rejuvelac.
with you. With
with
you.
with the
That would be
turmeric and
interesting.
ginger. Right, with the
Yes.
turmeric and ginger.
That I'm very excited. Okay, so that's going to be part two. We're going to do that, so everyone stay tuned. Any other questions that I see people have been asking? Just kind of like, how do I sign up for the
I
retreat?
see. We have
Yeah.
AC. We have ACs, but only in the bedrooms, and we're going to try to discourage the AC because the air is in Puerto Rico so luxurious and beautiful. Only in like the end of these months, not tonight, but certain months you might need a little, but I don't. I don't use AC here because I just use a fan. You got a big ceiling fan, open the windows, you know. Mosquitoes.
Yeah.
No, they're not so there's a little mosquito. If you have a fan, they don't bother you. And if you mosquitoes aren't such a bad thing. I think everybody's over scared of mosquitoes. We're all too afraid. I mean, I know I don't like to get bit either, but they don't like me anymore. They only like the sweet people. So you gotta stop, you gotta stop the white sugar and anything sweet, sweet, sweet. Because once you start eating this sauerkraut and Rejuvelac and that kind of stuff and wheatgrass, they don't like you. They really don't like you. So I don't, my husband and I, they don't bite us. They don't
That's
bite.
so cool. That's really cool. And that's really important because up here also like during the summer, oh my God, it's insane.
Right.
But okay, so my last question to you, which is an important one and a good one, is about like if you can think of one or two or I don't know, really I want to know who this is good for. Like who, because I know the answer of course is everyone and you can say that. But yeah, like what have you seen this lifestyle transform the most? And those of you who are listening, to those who are listening, like who do you think that this is most for? And what have you seen it really help with? Like, is there any specific stories that have really come out to you and been like, whoa, like I've seen it help this a lot of times? Anything that you can share in that department?
I think number one is it's good for the people who really want it. You've got to be called to this. Like that's why, like you and I were talking. I'm not a saleswoman. I'm gonna promote it because I love it, and it'd be like me, like promoting a great movie. But of course, this is much bigger. But this is like a lifestyle that just really can it change. It's a life changer. I've seen people with cancer come in and it do amazing things with tumors, shrinking tumors. And I've seen people with like holes and things like openings that have closed really fast from drinking it, eating the living foods, and also putting poultice of wheatgrass and also sun and ocean and everything. Um, I've seen a lot of people come in very sad and depressed, and that goes away very within 2 weeks, within 1 week, and that's a huge thing. I see people get less fearful. I see people skin clear up amazingly. I see people's hair and nails get stronger, things like that. Um, uh, and instead of losing weight, but more inflammation, even the legs swelling, so I don't really like to focus on weight loss. I feel like weight loss is a side effect of detoxing and cleansing the body. It's just a wonderful, so is skin, radiating skin. So is feeling like you love yourself and having it in your personality shine. So, um, I, I think that I do believe it can help anything. But I think the main thing is that the person has to believe in it and have faith, and they can't be wishy-washy. And they have to be really honest with themselves and do it the best they can. And so and it isn't just the food. It's the mind stuff. So there's people that I know, well, at least they say they're eating it, they're cleaning their colon, but they're not wanting to or let go. Maybe they're not wanting to forgive, and if they keep eating the food long enough in the way of more green, they will forgive because you can't get around it. That's why Ann Wigmore said you go through, use the food because the food is going to help heal the emotional body and the whole being too.
Mm.
Like it just all happens together. But I do believe if you're working on it, it surely helps. The spiritual and the emotional part help the physical part, and the physical part.
Accelerate it. Is
Yeah,
there like what would you say is like a good way to work on that? Like, is that something that you guys talk about at Ann Wigmore? And are there any like
yeah.
how do you address that? Because I know, yeah, how do you what
I
is
mean,
a
I
quick synopsis?
didn't do a class, kind of Byron Katie, if you guys want to look up, Byron, and she does like about, it's kind of about like recognizing your thoughts, that we have these thoughts that they're toxic. It's kind of like eating toxic foods, that you're eating it every day because you're thinking it every day, and maybe you have a thought like, and you don't even realize we have them,
Mm-hmm.
like I have them, and I don't even know. And then some, even in a massage, sometimes I really recognize it comes up and I say, what is that thought? And I realize, and don't judge it because it's real negative. It could be like, I'm not good enough, and it's like, oh my God, what is that? And then you realize that is really so self-defeating. And if that thought is just lingering somewhere in your body or in your mind, and you're having that thought, it could create things like headaches and migraines. It could create tension. It will create sadness and fear, and you won't be able to move forward in your life. So taking a thing like I'm not good enough and saying, is this true? It's the first thing is this true? And it has to be absolutely true, like facts. So of course, no, it's not true. It's not true for anyone. I'm not good enough. Okay, are you sure it's not true? No. Okay, yeah, I'm sure it's not true. And then how would you feel without it? Well, how would you feel if that thought was just gone? Oh wow. I feel lighter. I feel freer, And then you try, and then the other thing is to kind of like, what could you replace that with? What would be a better thought for you? And it would be, I- I'm 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 powerhouse. I've got everything now. I can do this, or whatever kind of thing works for you. And you try to do affirmations like Louise Hay, like this is old school stuff, and
Yeah.
it's but it's also really old, like ancient stuff. I mean, you can find stuff in the Bible about how, we need to love ourselves. We are manifestations, and we're people who are here to serve and help each other, and be connected and love each other. We're not here to compete and fear, and it's so, just like fear is contagious, so is love. So the more love we put into ourselves and the more loving we are, and I'm not saying I'm there. I'm constantly working. I'm a mother with 3 kids. Today I worked on a lot, my 22-year-old, and we had to go through a lot of and then we ended up amazing. But we went through some heavy stuff. It was like detoxing, really heavy. And then we swam together. So it was wonderful. But life is beautiful and hard and wonderful, and it's all of it. It's magnificent, and the food helps it all. The better food you eat, the better you're going to feel about who you are, and your purpose. And Wigmore said, you find your true purpose in life when you really cleanse and find yourself. You know what you want to do. Your goal gets like this. A lot of us are like, I'm not sure. Nah, nah. And then when you clean your body and you put all that green live food in it, you feel so good. I really, I want no more than to spread, shine on inspiration to you and everyone, because I'm feeling so inspiration by this, and I don't even get to see all these people.
I
I'm
know, I know. I
so
would
glad
love if
you
everybody could put,
up with us.
yeah, no, I would love if everybody before we leave, if everybody who would be open to put your camera on before we leave, um, just so that we can see everybody and say goodbye, and we'll unmute
Please.
and say goodbye. Before everybody goes, I do want to let everybody know that I am having a program where I'm leading basically this raw living foods diet where I help you do this at home. Now, it's really like it can feel overwhelming to do this, but right now we're going into spring and it's such a good time to do this. I'm doing it for myself, actually. The reason why I'm leading this program next week is for myself and for me to have even accountability with other people. But it's so, so fun to do it together with everybody. It can be kind of challenging to be out there doing it yourself and trying to put the pieces together, but it's so doable when we do it together.
You're
So,
doing it for 1 week, right? First, there's a 1 week one. And what do you
yeah,
give them?
there's a 1 week, and I give you all the wheatgrass, enough wheatgrass for you to have 4 shots a day. I give you microgreens and sunflower and pea. I give you sauerkraut. I give you raw seeds for sprouting. I give you raw crackers and raw snacks, and I even give you juices.
Right.
Yeah,
You
and then
do it at home.
yeah.
Wonderful. It's
Yeah.
wonderful.
And I give you a shopping list of all the fruits and vegetables to buy, and you go out and I tell you, okay, on this day we're gonna go and we're gonna buy it, and then by on Sunday, on the 18th, we're gonna do it together on Zoom, and we're going to all do it together on the same exact Zoom and do meal prep together in our kitchens. Okay, we're gonna make the salad, we're gonna chop, and we're gonna prepare for the week. And then in the mornings throughout the rest of the week, we wake up in the morning and we do wheatgrass and yoga together.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So it's
How
so
do you
nice.
join? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
They
so
got to go on your website. They should go to
yeah,
your
so what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna leave a link for those of you who are interested in joining. I'm actually looking only for 15 people. So I think there are a few slots that have been filled. So I'm looking to fill it up. I need to have it by Tuesday. So like I need to know who's joining by Tuesday. So if you are interested in joining for the 18th, you should sign up honestly tonight, tomorrow. And through that link, you can sign up and make a call with me.
Yeah.
And then if you don't want to do it right now because something's coming up, you can do it at any time with us. It's true. Because we'll send it to you all around the country. Only within the continental US do we send the shipments. But if you want to join and just virtually do it with us, you can do that as well. So that's another option. So if there's any interest, if you feel like this is the time for you and like you're inspired and you want to get started, I'm telling you, there's nothing better than doing it together and
Yeah.
having it in camaraderie. I wouldn't be telling you to do this if I didn't feel like it was critical, because I see people come back and try and do this themselves and they flail. But
Yeah,
when
and I have people asking me, where am I going to go? Where you're not open, what am I going to do? And I would tell them to do it with you. You don't, I don't know. I've been to a few places. I'm just, I don't have a place I'd send people. I would send them to buy the stuff from Rebecca, and get it together and set yourself for that week and commit to it. Commit to yourself. Commit. It's you loving yourself. You take the time, you do yoga every morning.
Yeah.
You don't run around that week. You take it
Yeah.
easy. And I don't know when the full moon is, but I think it's coming. And then
Yeah.
maybe do it right around the full moon and you set intention on your life and you'll 1 week will shift it. And if you want, if I were you, I'd go into 2 or 3 weeks. Don't stop,
Yeah.
because I
Carolyn,
love the product.
No, I totally agree, because it's actually in the first week that you do it, you just are learning. The second week, you start to, it's almost like you're relearning the language.
Feel
And then
better.
the third week that you actually start to feel better. Yeah. So
Right.
anyway, I would love to have as many of you as possible. I put the link in there. I will send you an email afterwards if you are interested in signing up. But okay, back to Carolyn and all of you. I'm going to actually take us off of Spotlight so that we can see all of you. And we can look at the grid here. Let's see. Somehow, can we look at the grid? Remove Spotlight. Okay, yeah. So yes, yay, now we can see everybody. Okay, if anybody wants to unmute themselves and just say thank you to Carolyn for such an amazing interview.
I love you,
Thank you.
Carolyn.
Thank you,
Thanks to
Carolyn.
both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Carolyn.
Thank you very much.
Can't wait till your place is
Bye.
open again.
Oh,
Thank
me
you.
too. Me too. I
Thanks,
love you guys.
Thank you. This was very
Bye,
enjoyable.
Marie.
Do that.
I love you guys. I can't wait to see you. I miss you.
I miss you.
Mm.
I'm gonna cry.
It's been
Aw.
too long, my love.
Thank you.
I'm not a construction woman. I'm
You,
Yes, you are.
I don't want to be after this. This is it.
aw.
Maybe I have to, or I might have to open one more. Maybe I have to-
Come open it in Trinidad.
Yeah. Okay,
Thanks,
babe.
Rebecca. Thanks, Carolyn.
Bye.
Bye,
Who
Natalie.
is that? I
Rebecca.
recognize it.
Bye-bye.
Randall, Randy. So good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anne Marie is here. Yay. And this is so fun of like a combo of people, because a lot of these people I don't know, Janet Metcalf. Hi.
How do I get
I don't know.
this?
So I can
Yes,
show
I
myself.
am.
I don't know.
Hi, Carolyn.
Hey, Brett.
Hey, Rebecca.
Carolyn.
Carolyn.
Oh, hi, you
Gotta
guys.
go. Thanks for everything.
Oh, thank you too. Good to see you.
Uh-huh.
Thank
Yes,
you.
good to be
Remember
seen.
you.
When you come in,
Thank you, Carolyn. She was at
Hi,
the thing with me with Paul with Margie. That's funny.
when you come into Trinidad, Carolyn,
How come? You gotta invite me. I didn't know I was invited. I know you were there.
you're always invited.
You call me.
Okay.
So cool to see everybody. This is really, really special.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm
Thank
really
you.
crying.
Yeah,
you,
no, this was
Rebecca.
so fun. This was way better than I could have even imagined. So many people came, which is really special to me. And I have to tell you also, I've been having these, as far as like manifesting and mindset goes, I have been manifesting in my journal instead of journaling about like, I want this, I want that. I don't know if it's sad or it's happy, but I actually quite literally have written in my journal, drawn little, like 100 squares of Zoom people.
Oh.
Because I know how powerful Zooms can be because we're all in different parts of the world. We're all really busy. We only have like an hour to see each other. And this 1 hour we're taking out of our lives to connect with each other. And it makes a big difference because we don't have these connections in other parts of our lives. We don't have other people in our lives that care about it. So this moment, this hour right here is really special. And I've been manifesting this moment right now. So thank you, everybody.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Carol,
All right, everyone. So ready for part two? Part two is coming soon where we're doing cabbage rejuvelac.
Yes, yes, part 2.
Part two is coming soon. Mwah, everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Bye
Bye.
now.
Puerto Rico.
Bye now.
Puerto Rico. Love you guys.
Bye, thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.